This is Jim Alimo, and today we're going to take a cast for a elbow brace. This is Cleo. And first thing that we want to remember is, let's cast the dog standing up. And when we cast, we want to get as high up into the axilla as possible. And we also want to make sure that we use the appropriate size casting tape. For small dogs, we generally use either 1 or 2 inch casting tape. But for larger dogs, we use 2-inch casting tape and sometimes even 3-inch casting tape. So let's go ahead and get started. And we're going to just put on some stockinette. And the stockinette is going to just gently come up over the paw. And we're going to hold the stockinette as high up into the axilla as possible. It's always best if you have a helper that would hold up the stockinette. We're going to cast from as high up in the axilla as possible, and we're going to cast all the way down to the carpus. So what we want to do is we want to put the stockinette on. We'll put our gloves on. And then we need a cutting strip in order to be able to take the cast off, so we can cut on the cutting strip. We're going to use a piece of surgical tubing. That surgical tubing is going to go cranially towards the front, and we're going to have it all the way up on top of the axilla down to the carpus. When we cast, in this case we're going to use 2-inch fiberglass casting tape. We're going to open it up and we're going to leave it in the water for about 10 seconds. After it's in the water for about 10 seconds, we're going to go ahead and squeeze it out 3 times to get the water out, and then we can start wrapping. We're going to start wrapping distally and move our way up to proximally. So the water's been in there, and we just use regular tepid water. We squeezed it 3 times. We're going to start, and we're going to roll away from us. We're going to have the tube on the front. We're going to start all the way down at the carpus. And we're going to wrap, keeping the tube in front. And we're going to wrap only about 3 layers, and no more than that. Otherwise, the cast will get too thick. So we're going to wrap all the way up as high in the axilla as we can. And we got about 3 layers there, no more than that. And then any excess, we're going to just take off and cut off the excess and throw that away. Now we're going to massage in the fiberglass casting tape. And it's really important that when we cast for a elbow brace that we maintain the alignment that we want the brace to be in. And we also want to make sure that the paw is going forward and it's not externally rotated or internally rotated. We also want to make sure that we flatten out the forearm here. We want this way, that will help in suspension. And we also want to make sure that we mark where the carpus is. And we want to rub in the fiberglass very well. Last thing we want to do is just come in right above the humeral condyles and squeeze in there slightly. And that will give us a good impression and help in suspension of the brace. Now that's almost hard, and what we're going to do now is going to go ahead and take a marker, and we're going to mark just where that tube is. And then we're going to go ahead and put little hash marks where the tube is. This way we know where to cut it off. Now this is almost ready, and I think we can go ahead and cut it off now. So we'll start proximally or distally, whatever you'd like. And we're going to use a very sharp razor knife. We're going to cut down on the tube without cutting the dog's leg. That's why we have the tube there. And it's still not totally hard yet, but if you get it when it's just a little bit soft, it will be much easier to cut off. Now we can go ahead and pull the tube out, and then we take a stockinette, bandage scissors, and we can cut off the stockinette. From there we can go ahead and gently pull off the stockinette, and if we have a little bit of hair, just make sure that we get the hair out of the cast. Okay. Now once we got the cast off, what we're going to do is we're going to close it up, and then we're going to tape up by matching up our marks so they're in good alignment. We don't want it where it's out of alignment. We'll match up our cross hatches, and then we'll put tape right around there. So that's how easy it is to take a cast for an elbow brace. The important thing is, get as high as you can up into the axilla. Only wrap about 3 layers. Wrap from the axilla down to the carpus. Come in above the humeral condyles for suspension, and flatten out mediolaterally on the radius and the ulna. That's all we need to do today. From there you can go ahead and take measurements according to the measurement sheet.